This is Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski. Here now, Tony Brueski.
Seems every time someone that fits the definition of a predator is brought into the light, there is a windfall of individuals who are ready to stand up and say, this feels unjust, even when there's video evidence of it. Even when we can watch, we can see, we can hear with our own ears the voices, the words of those who've been preyed upon. Somehow it's like a beckoning call out to fellow predators to stand up and say, I got your back. Why? Well, I don't know. I do not know. And outside of the legal structure that we have in our country, where you are innocent until proven guilty, where you have a defender, an attorney to defend you, who is operating on the belief that you are innocent, I don't know anyone who defends predators other than predators. Do you? Once that knowledge is there that this person is a predator, kind of changes the game a little bit. Yet every single time justice finally drags one into the light, a new crowd shows up with excuses. Lawyers with loopholes, fans with nostalgia, insiders who swear the monster they knew was a genius. Because of that genius, because of those fat beats. I know, that sounded like something out of the 90s. Fat beats with a P. Every time they swear that that monster they knew was a genius, it should just absolve things, right? Never mind the tape. Never mind the horrible testimony that so many people gave against Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs built an empire on that very illusion. For decades, the music, the parties, the champagne commercials, all of it sold one idea. That power means permission. Now, that same man who bragged about being unstoppable is begging the system to stop for him. His legal team has filed a notice of appeal, not shocking, challenging the 50-month federal sentence he earned after being convicted of transporting women across state lines for you-know-what. 2 counts under the Mann Act, 2 counts that punctured a legend. The racketeering and trafficking charges did not stick, but what did was enough to strip away the myth of the self-made mogul who could do anything to anyone and walk away smiling, saying, take that, take that, take that. Appeals are supposed to be about law, not ego. But this one is pure ego dressed in Latin. The lawyers argue the judge used acquitted conduct to calculate the sentence, meaning the court considered behavior that never became a conviction. It's a narrow technicality, and yes, sometimes it wins a few months off, but it's not a declaration of innocence. It's a math problem. He's not saying he didn't do it. He's saying the formula hurt his feelings. Anyone who's ever been inside an appellate process knows how cold it is. No witnesses, no new evidence, no cameras, just transcripts, precedent, and paperwork. And for a man who once choreographed his entire life as theater, that's hell. There's no crowd to charm, no spin to control, just pages of his own words read back to judges who couldn't care less about platinum records. The odds of success are small. Roughly 2% of federal sentences get overturned. Even fewer in early releases. But narcissists don't measure odds. They measure attention. The appeal buys him headlines, sympathy, relevance. It's a press tour, basically designed as due process. He built a career on control, controlling artists, women, stories, rooms. Now the appeal is the only thing left to control. It lets him pretend he's still running the show, still negotiating, still the boss. In reality, he's a number in a federal database. A man who once demanded obedience now has to wait for permission to leave his cell. He doesn't like that. Inside that reality, 4 years is both forever and not nearly enough. 50 months for decades of coercion, manipulation, and violence is a bargain. Prosecutors wanted 11 years. They called him unrepentant, said he weaponized wealth to exploit and intimidate. They weren't wrong. Every survivor who came forward told some version of the same story. The promise of opportunity that turned into control, the night that blurred into a pattern, the fear that silence was safer than truth. Those women don't get an appeal. They don't get to ask a panel of judges for a do-over on the worst moments of their lives. And yet the machine tries to spin it. You can already feel it online, the nostalgia, the arguments about separating art from artist. You've seen it before. R. Kelly, depending on what your opinion is of Michael Jackson. The tired chorus of everybody partied back then. It's not defense, it's denial. It's the public's way of protecting its own comfort, because if he's guilty, then maybe the culture that worshipped him is too. For a moment, TMZ floated a story that Donald Trump might consider commuting his sentence. The White House said there was zero truth to that, and that should be the end of it, and it mostly is. But TMZ is standing by their story. It shows you got close. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form going to say that that's not going to happen. The fact that anyone believes that this could happen, it says a lot about where we're at today. Because it could. Crazier things have happened. People like Diddy are used to shortcuts. They expect doors to open when they knock. When they don't, they start pounding, demanding the system bend the way it always has. There's nothing cinematic about an appeal. It's paperwork and patience. He'll sit in his cell while his attorneys draft arguments about guideline ranges and judicial discretion. The Second Circuit will take months to read them, maybe a year, and during that time, life moves on. The headlines fade, the world that once circled him leans and learns to spin without him. That's the real punishment, not the years, but the irrelevance. Every predator I've ever seen exposed follows the same pattern. First comes the denial, they're lying, then indignation, I'm being targeted, then the rebrand, I've changed. I've changed. I've found the Almighty Lord. Like I've been saying all along, mark my words, Diddy's going to come back out as a preacher. Mark my fucking words. There will be a church and there will be a Diddy every Sunday performing. And it will be packed with people because he's a changed man. Look how great God is. He's changed him. Yeah, he's also the same guy who made this piece of shit, too. So let's not forget that. And all the lives that have been ruined, destroyed, damaged, ended, maybe. Yeah, they don't really give a fuck about dancing Diddy on stage, saying how he's changed. They have to deal with the pain every single damn day, if they're alive. I'm not saying Diddy killed anybody, but I'm saying, I don't know. The appeal is step 2 on that ladder. It's the moment before contrition becomes marketing. It's the pause where the mask slips and we see the fear underneath. Diddy's story isn't about a fallen mogul. It's about what happens when the man mistakes dominance for destiny. The courts can reduce numbers, but they can't erase history. The videos, the testimony, the rage, the civil suits, they're a permanent record. And the civil suits keep coming. The empire doesn't get rebuilt after that. It gets remembered for what it always was. A monument to unchecked power. If there's any justice in the appeal, it's this. He's finally bound by the same rules he spent a lifetime dodging. He can't buy time, charm judges, or remix the facts. The law doesn't care about beats or branding. It cares about evidence, and the evidence says he exploited people and got caught. So yes, he's appealing. He'll keep appealing until someone tells him no loud enough that he finally hears it. And when he does, maybe he'll learn that real consequences sound like this. Until then, remember this. When powerful men fight to rewrite their guilt, they're not protecting themselves. They're protecting the system that let them exist. It's where they thrive. They're protecting their tank, their habitat, their nest. Because without that habitat or that nest that allowed them to exist in the first place, they can't breathe. Diddy's appeal isn't just about him. It's about every other predator watching, taking notes, and thinking if he can talk his way out, maybe I can too. That's why it matters. That's why it matters that we don't flinch, that we don't let fatigue become forgiveness, because the second we do, the next monster learns exactly how to survive. He can file every motion he wants. He can hire the best lawyers money can buy, but you can't appeal your own nature. You can't appeal what people finally know about you. The courts can debate months and motives, but morality already delivered its verdict. And if you still feel the urge to defend him, to explain him, to soften him, to insist he's somehow different, ask yourself why. Because I don't know anyone who defends predators other than predators. And that's a truth no court can overturn. Give me your thoughts in the comments section on YouTube. Just search Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski if you are not already there, and you will find us. Do that same search wherever you get podcasts. And please hit subscribe right now if you like what we're doing, so you can get more of it. All right? I'm Tony Brueski. We'll talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Brueski and the Hidden Killers podcast.